All right, the furnace we're looking at today is the Buena Vista furnace. A very nice placard put up by this. Again, I don't think this one is maintained as well as the other ones, but at least the historical site, now it's owned by the Indiana County Historical Site. So this is located off of Route 22, really Route 56 north of 22 in Indiana County. And again, this is Buena Vista furnace, cast iron furnace. It was run from 47 to 56, so about 9 years this was run. You know, you can read through to see all the characteristics and stuff, but this was a charcoal furnace. I don't think this was a hot blast furnace. I think this was a cold blast furnace. And again, this was pretty late in the time period for cast iron furnaces. All the materials from this were taken from the hillside. So the iron ore was pulled from the hillside. Of course, the trees, since it's a charcoal furnace, all the trees were pulled from around the area. Again, acres and acres of trees would have just been cut down, you know, as they would have gone radially out from the center as they started cutting. Didn't matter whether it was pine or oak, hardwood, softwood, wouldn't make any difference. They would have just used the whatever wood they had. And then the limestone. So the limestone is very abundant in this area, so they would have gone ahead. Again, another thing, we see a trail, this ghost trail that was on our left we came in on, and a stream. So again, you need the trail or a road to get the cast iron out, and you need a stream to run the water wheel and to probably put out the charcoal. So here we are at the furnace. You can see this furnace is in a lot worse shape than the Eliza furnace and some of the other furnaces we've seen. The nice thing with this furnace is you can actually see how the furnace was put together. The cast iron cut stones were on the outside. Inside is lined with a chimney, or a bosch is what they call it. And I'm not sure if this was an 8-foot bosch or not, but then they just kind of laid the stones in on top of this, and everything would pack down. I have heard stories of them moving these furnaces, and I have no idea how you would move this furnace unless you would number everything. Again, we have the inside. This is where the bellows would be, and there's probably one on the other side, and then the business side would have been the hearth, which is where the cast iron would have been poured out, which we'll take a look at. Okay. Here we go. This is the hearth of the furnace. The steel, the cast iron, they would have plugged this end, and they would have dug a trench down through here, and off of each one of those branches, the cast iron would have just basically been poured right into the ground. They would be making cast iron furnaces, cast iron pots and pans, but just the majority of this would have just been bulk cast iron poured into the ground to cool. Once it cooled, they would break it up, they would put it on a train, or they would put it on a cart, or they would put it on the river, and they would float it down to Pittsburgh for that to be processed. So this is where all the slag would come out first, and I think that's what this is. You can see just slag. Unfortunately, this is really in disrepair, and someone has built this back up. So this wouldn't have been here. So you can see the actual stones. And again, this is different. We have 3 tiers of cast iron or steel holding this up. Other furnaces just have one type of mantle. This is, again, has been reinforced. I don't know whether this has been replaced or not, but you can see the stress on these. Just over the years, the water has cracked. This is just regular sandstone. You can see big cracks in here, and actually the steel is cracked, which I haven't seen that before. But it's a nice furnace. It'll be here for a while, hopefully a little bit longer. And we'll try to document these so people can see how Pittsburgh was actually became the steel city. Yeah, you see how they did here. So they would have chiseled all these out, and then this just broke, which I haven't seen that on anyone before. So that's very interesting work as well. And you can see up through here, discoloration. I would imagine that's just from the heat coming up, just the heat and smoke. But you know, just to imagine someone actually chisel, you know, you have a stonemason in here just cutting these blocks and lining everything up. What a nice job they did. I mean, what a great testament to.
Yeah, everything is lined up so perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as close as a pyramid, because, you know, pyramid you can slide a sheet of paper through it, but that's not what this was meant for. This was a functioning furnace to make cast iron, and it produced tons of cast iron, which really helped the frontier, helped us get into the Industrial Revolution. Wow. So none of these furnaces are the same. I mean, the general shape and obviously the performance of the furnaces is the same. But if you look at this furnace, which I haven't seen before, you can see the actual chisel marks where the stonemason would have come in and chiseled these. So they took a big, you know, round block of sandstone, and they basically cut it. So you see that, you know, the nice precision edges. But when you get into the center, they just basically wanted to cut this. The other thing you'll notice is a lot of furnaces are a straight angle up. This one comes up to maybe 5 feet, at an angle, and then it is more pronounced back at that type of an angle. So two different things. One is none of these furnaces are exactly the same. It's not like there's a blueprint for these cast iron furnaces. It's whatever design the iron master or the owner of the furnace wanted to do. But the general shape is they have, each furnace would have a hearth, only one hearth, and they would have one or two inlets for the hot air. Again, this is a cold blast using charcoal. Now the charging bench on this, again, you don't see a hillside anywhere, so the charging bench is on the other side of the furnace, and that would be the ramp where they would have poured the iron ore and the limestone and any of the old cast iron that didn't pour or was junk. They would actually put that back in, so they were recycling. We talk about recycling now, but even back then they were recycling as much as they could.
There is a stream here nearby, right?
There is a stream, Blacklick, which is the same stream that we saw at the Eliza furnace. We'll get on and take a look at that one. Here we are out. One of the benefits of looking at these furnaces is you're out in nature. You get to see, this is the Blacklick Creek, probably a good fishing creek. One of the things I noticed coming in is a pillar, which I'm assuming is one side of a support for a train. All commerce in the United States back then was done by train. That may have actually hauled some of the cast iron ingots or billets into Pittsburgh, but maybe we can take a look at that when we get up there. But just to get out, it's a nice day to get out and see the sights, hardly any clouds in the sky. We did see a snake, so one word of caution, in the summer when you're looking for these things, use your situational awareness and be wary for snakes, because no one wants to get bit by a snake.
Yeah. And this is the same water that was used to run the bellows.
This water ran the bellows. This is also the water they would have directed, since the water's flowing this way, we would find a channel up here. They would have dammed up the stream, and they would have raised the level of the water, and they would have brought the water back over to run the water wheel, to run the bellows, and also to cool the charcoal. With the charcoal, they would take all the trees in the area, they would put them in a pyramid shape, and just keep making maybe a 30-foot diameter of logs. They would put dirt all around it, they would ignite it, and basically burn all the hydrocarbons off, so you're basically left with charcoal, the stuff that you would get in the store. All right, here we are standing up on top of maybe not quite the top, but where the charging platform would be, the charging bench. So there would have been a wooden structure all the way up through here, would have been supported down through here at a small angle, because at this point there were no mules or donkeys. The men actually had to take it up in carts and wheelbarrows. They would wheel the cast iron, they would wheel the iron ore, and they would wheel the limestone. And 560 tons comes out, 560 tons have to go in. So these guys are constantly just backbreaking work, just up and dumping, coming back. These probably would have been staging areas back here for the iron ore. And I'm not exactly sure. I mean, you can try to find a road to see how they would have come in. Maybe we'll walk up this way a little bit more to see. But that's pretty much how they did it. So there's really no magic to it. It was just all manual labor.
Can we tell, like, not to eat these kind of berries?
Yeah, over here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one to film. That's a very good one, if you can zoom in on that. Is he striking? What is he? His tail's up in the air. Where is his? You able to see it? From up here you can see it. Get this leaf out of the way.
That's a snake there.
I don't want to throw a stick or disturb it, because I don't want him coming after us. But we almost...
Just be careful here.
Whenever you're ready to video.
No, I'm videoing you. I'm ready. You can talk if you want. I can.
So here we are talking about snakes, and at the top of the hillside, I believe that's a black snake, but I'm not really taking any chances. A portion of it is up. I'm not sure if it's coiled or not, but we basically, yeah, that was the head. So the head was kind of up, either listening to us or not. We're not going to disturb it. I don't think that's our right to do it. We'll let it go. And I think it's starting to slowly move away, so you'll see the tail disappear. But especially in the summer, especially in the woods, you need to be very careful of snakes. And if you could, it might not be a bad idea to wear some sort of gaiters or some sort of leggings to protect yourself from it. That's what the Native Americans did. They would wrap leather or deer skin around their ankles, so that in case they stepped into the woods, they would Boy, that is a long snake. That's probably a 4-footer. Look how graceful that just disappears. There's no rattle on the back of it, so it's not a rattlesnake. I'm assuming that was just a black snake. Last thoughts on this furnace before we leave. Again, one of the common things is a hillside. You need a hillside because that's where the charging bench would have been. You have to find a way to load all the cast iron and the limestone up on top, plus the old and the iron ore. So they would have put it up on top of this. There would have been a wooden structure that they would have taken everything and probably covered, and they would have dumped the cast iron. So that's important. We're going to go up there and take a look for old cast iron. Another thing to think about is 560 tons of iron in 1854 alone. So maybe 10% of that is slag. So, you know, you're looking at 50 tons, yeah. 50 some tons of slag 1 year, and this was running for 9 years. So there's slag everywhere. So, you know, you think this is a picture perfect. You know, you look how nice it is. The garden is, or the lawn is maintained, the grass is maintained, everything looks nice. But there would have been slag here. It would have been smelling. It would have been, you know, people getting burned and stuff. It was not the safest place to work, although the guys did make a lot of money. And then the last thing that I want to mention is Richard Parks. Richard Parks has a whole website, and we'll put the link in the notes. This website talks about each one of these furnaces. When he retired, I believe he went through and looked at a good portion of the furnaces in Western Pennsylvania. I think he since has passed away, but he's done a very good job detailing the GPS coordinates and also text coordinates, where to park and how to get places, and places that are no trespassing. Obviously, we do want to take that seriously. We don't want to trespass on property that's not ours, or we want to ask permission. But this is a historical landmark, so we're okay here. So again, this is another view. We're going to go take a whole picture of what the Buena Vista furnace is. Again, not sure how much longer this is going to be here, since the one side has caved in. It won't. It's not going to be around forever. So if you get a chance to look at the Buena Vista furnace on the Ghost Trail, it's definitely worth stopping. Thank you for watching.